In this video, I'm going to look at the 3 biggest beginner ukulele myths and show you why they're stopping you from becoming a better ukulele player. Let's get into it. Biggest beginner ukulele myth number 1 is there's just one way to play a chord. A lot of beginners don't realize there are multiple ways to play the same chord. By playing the same chord in different ways, you can actually make certain chord changes faster and easier. For example, it's a myth you can only play a G chord where you place the index finger on the 2nd fret of the C string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, and middle finger on the 2nd fret of the bottom A string, letting the top G string ring open. That's one way to play G, but let's say instead I place my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the C string, little finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, and ring finger on the 2nd fret of the bottom A string, letting that top G string ring open. I'm still playing a G chord, but this is another position I can use. And why would I want to do this? Well, that's because I can make certain chord changes easier. For example, let's say I'm playing a song where I switch from a G to an F chord, which is a fairly common change. I can make that change easier by using this position and freeing up my index finger to be ready to go to play that F chord. So I'd have my G chord, and then F, G, F, G, F, G, F, G. In this case, the alternative G chord finger position makes it just a little bit easier to change between chords. Now, let's keep going with this idea and say we want to play a G chord where we bar or press down the bottom 3 strings at the 2nd fret with the index finger. Place that middle finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, and then let the top G string ring open. Now for some of you this might be a little more difficult to play, but let's consider if we're playing a song where we have to switch from a G chord to an E minor chord, which that E minor chord is typically played like this, where you place that index finger, 2nd fret, bottom A string, middle finger, 3rd fret, E string, and then ring finger on the 4th fret of the C string. So that's typically how an E minor chord would be played. But let's say we're switching from that G chord to an E minor chord, and let's say we use that bar G chord position right here. And now all we have to do is place the ring finger on the 4th fret of the C string to play an E minor chord. So G, E minor. So that's a lot easier to change between than, say, you were to play that standard G chord position like this. And then the standard E minor chord position would be like this. So that's a lot of movement from the fretting hand. So we can minimize that fretting movement by barring that G chord. And then we're ready to go to play the E minor chord. Sometimes in songs, it's worth choosing a slightly more difficult alternative finger position, like we did for that G bar chord, in order to make your chord changes smoother and faster. This is the power of practicing alternative finger positions for chords. The takeaway here is that it's a myth there's only one way to play a chord. You shouldn't be afraid to experiment with different fretting hand fingering positions, because sometimes that different fingering can be the difference between playing a song or not. The second myth is there's only one strumming pattern for a song. A lot of beginners ask me, Brett, what's the strumming pattern for this song? And what I want to say is that 99 times out of 100, there isn't some magic secret pattern that allows you to unlock a song. Rather, the secret is that the best strumming pattern is the one that allows you to keep a steady, consistent rhythm. And what do I mean by rhythm? Strumming is a form of rhythm. And rhythm in music is all about keeping consistent timing. So the most musical sounding strumming pattern you can ever play is the one where you keep consistent, steady time. What this means is that if you want to become a better strummer on ukulele, then you have to learn how to improve your ability to find the beat of a song. So how do you find the beat of a song? First, you listen to songs and try to tap or count along to the beat. Most songs are counted in 4, where you count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Or some songs are counted in 3, where you count out 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So next time you listen to a song, practice counting out loud to find the beat. You'll probably get it wrong at first, but that's okay. The more you do this, the better you'll get. Second, once you've found the beat, whenever learning a new song, start with just down strums that match up to the beat of the song. This is my favorite strumming pattern, and I'll link to a video in the description where I talk about why this is so powerful. Even after playing ukulele for over 25 years, more often than not, I'm simply strumming through a chord chart with just simple down strums. I like to familiarize myself with the changes, and then I work to find that simple beat either counted in 4 or in 3. For example, in my cover of Leonard Cohen's famous song Hallelujah, which is counted in 3, in the chorus I use a simple down strum pattern to perform the song, and I think it sounds really musical and expressive, even though it's simple. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. And yes, I know the idea of just using down strum sounds too easy, so go watch that other video I made to see why it sounds musical and why I love it so much. The third step to finding the beat of a song is by building a rhythm vocabulary. Just like you have to build a chord vocabulary for your fretting hand fingers, you also have to build the rhythmic muscle memory where you strum down and up in various combinations. So the problem is that a lot of people might be able to hear the beat of a song, but then they don't have the motor movement to actually execute the strumming pattern in their strumming hands. So this is why you'll end up playing the same pattern over and over again, even if you try really hard to think of playing something different. So this is where learning different strumming patterns is super important, because you're building the technique, aka the muscle memory, needed to execute a consistent beat. Here's the big point I want to make. The faster you can stop thinking in terms of secret strumming patterns, and the faster you can think in terms of finding the beat, the better you'll become as a ukulele player. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video, I want to invite you to join me over at ukuleletricks.com in the Strumming Tricks online course, where I teach you the skills and techniques needed to strum and play any song on ukulele. Strumming Tricks is a complete step-by-step method to take you from complete beginner to proficient ukulele player. I teach you my exact process to take the chords of a song and figure out the right strumming pattern in order to play it. If you join me today, you'll get over 30 lessons divided into small bite-sized steps across 89 individual videos. Plus, you'll get my free personalized support. And the best thing is, there's no monthly fee. So once you're a member, you're always a member for life, meaning you can take every lesson at your own pace. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the description or go to ukuleletricks.com/YouTube to join Strumming Tricks today. All right, the third and final biggest beginner ukulele myth is ukulele is easy. Chances are you've heard this before. Everyone everywhere likes to say this. Ukulele is easy. It's just 4 strings. You need less fingers to play it. Here's the problem. I know from teaching thousands of students that for many of you, ukulele is not easy. For some of you, it's actually really hard, and playing music for the first time is one of the most difficult things you've ever done. And so here's the thing. What we believe about our instrument or ourselves has a huge impact on how we improve as musicians. I think we're all here because we want to become better and we want to play the music we love. So if we're walking around thinking ukulele is easy and it's not easy, then you'll be quick to think one of 2 things. Either one, you'll think something's wrong with me, when really there's nothing wrong with you. Or 2, you'll think ukulele is easy, so I just don't have to put in a lot of effort. The truth is, learning music is a lifelong process, and it isn't just easy. What people probably mean is that ukulele is one of the most approachable instruments. Is it one of the most affordable instruments? Absolutely. Are the nylon strings of the uke kinder to the fingers than the steel strings of a guitar? Yes. And is it easy to carry your ukulele around with you anywhere? Yes, but that's kind of beside the point. And I agree, the ukulele is extremely approachable. And relative to other instruments like, say, the oboe or the bagpipes, it's definitely easier to get started. But I will say, in my experience, having spent my life playing ukulele, piano, guitar, and other instruments, I found there are some styles on ukulele that are actually more difficult to play versus, say, an instrument like the guitar. For example, this past year I've been arranging solo chord melody pieces like Adele's Easy on Me or Olivia Rodrigo's Driver's License. And one of the difficulties I ran into was that the ukulele has less space between the frets, which meant I had a harder time fitting my fingers in between the frets to play certain passages in the piece. So it would have actually been easier to learn the piece on the larger size guitar. So in this way, the ukulele is truly its own instrument with its own history that should be respected. It might be more approachable, but that doesn't mean it's just easy. It's also not a toy or a stepping stone to the guitar or another instrument. This means if you want it to be your instrument, you can go deep and far in that journey. And if you're struggling to learn, contrary to what the internet says, it will take effort and it might not happen overnight, but that's okay. So here's what you can do if you find ukulele challenging to learn. The biggest predictor of your success is going to be how consistent you practice. Yes, I know this is a revolutionary idea. Practice. Wow, who would have thought of that? But here's 3 practical ways to make your practice actually consistent. 1, prioritize daily short practice sessions over long marathon sessions. Your brain and your fingers will thank you, and you'll build the momentum needed to see improvement. 2, set up a reminder on your phone or anchor your practice to another activity you already do in your day. So, like working on some strumming patterns with your morning coffee, or practicing chord changes while you're sitting down in the evening before you watch Netflix. And 3, whatever you do, have a plan. It could be a book, it could be a local ukulele group that you play with on a weekly basis, or it could be an online course. There's a lot to be said here, but it doesn't matter what your plan is, just make sure you have one. Okay, so these are the 3 biggest beginner ukulele myths I've encountered in all my years teaching. What other ukulele myths have you heard? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, and if you want more ukulele tricks, tips, and lessons, then please subscribe to the channel and head over to ukuleletricks.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.